we're going to move into the second part of Sūryanamaskāra B, which is the Virabhadrasana. And Virabhadrasana is a warrior, a very powerful warrior, has a very beautiful story that goes with it. Has to do with Shiva and Parvati. And if you have a chance, you can go into finding a copy of this. It's a pretty common story, pretty easy to find. It's in the Mahabharata. But it describes Virabhadrasana as being a very powerful, almost evil energy and controlled evil energy. But so it's just giving you an aspect that it's very, we just lift up. We've got a great power warrior. And it comes from downward facing dog. And what I do is first I'll step slightly forward, and I'll show you why I do that in a moment when I do it from the side in the transition. But I'll step slightly to the left, and as I come forward, my leg is bent. So my leg is bent as I accompany my other foot forward, and I place the heel on the floor. Then with my back leg, I reach. So I'm reaching my body forward as the foot comes down. I do the same thing as I did in Utkatasana, feeling of the hands coming back, pulling me forward, and I bring them forward and follow them up. So I have this feeling of reaching forward, come up, and this will give the length in the spine. Okay, so one of the things I want to show you before I demonstrate again is positioning of the feet. And I'm going to use a belt to highlight it. So we'll put the belt down as if it's, I sometimes talk about it as if it's a flower bed along your mat, and you don't want to step on the flowers, which is basically what we're trying to avoid. So this should be nice and straight as possible. And from downward dog, I'm actually going to lift and step so that when I place my heel down, the heel is on one side of this belt. So I don't want it on the belt. I have to make sure I don't squash the flowers. I just put it to the side. And as I bring the other foot forward, it's on the other side of the mat. And then reach forward. Why I do that? So if you come onto your mats and you stand on the edge of a mat, would be one way we'll put a belt down. But if I put both heels on the belt and then put my hands on my buttocks and then turn, I'm going to feel my buttocks actually tighten. They squeeze together and they get stuck. But I also lose the ability to control the lower dantian, which is the most important. I lose this ability to control here. The control ends up by coming here, which is again a hindrance to breathing. But when I keep one foot on one side and the other heel on the other, and I turn, you can try this, there's still toning, but there's no tightness, there's no gripping. And I still maintain the movement of controlling the lower dantian. And the same thing happens when the feet are wider apart in the Virabhadrasana position. If I turn, very tight buttocks, lost here, working from here. Separate the feet, and softness comes, the ability to move in the hips is there. Whereas this, I'm stiff in the hips, I'm stiff as lack of movement, lack of balance. So a little wider stance is the best way to be. I mean, you can really work the posture. So that's what it looks like from the front. Let me show you from the side, the movement. So coming, I'll do the transition, chaturanga, upward dog, down dog. And you can notice when I'm in downward dog, I'm very far from my hands. I'm too far away. I told you before, we step forward in Sūryanamaskāra A, or slide our toes along the floor. But so now I want to create the distance between my hands and the feet. So that's why I bend the legs and step slightly forward and to the side. Then I come forward, place the hands as if I had the belt. Then I extend forward and take the heel back and then reach. And it's this reaching that gives me the connection to the back leg, strengthen the posture, back leg reaching up. So I'm very powerful. Coming down, I follow the thumbs down and come back to chaturanga. Slide upward dog. Exhale, downward dog. And then the other side. Step slightly to the right. Heel comes down. Left foot comes forward. Lengthen. Heel back. Hands forward. And then back down to chaturanga. Okay, so this is the way we're going to work. One more time, I'll do the whole thing for you. Ekam, Utkatasana. Look down. Surya Namaskar. So I just want to mention one more thing, that when we have this position and the legs are lengthening the correct way, then we have the movement to the ability to move in the hips very freely. If we tighten muscles too much, then we get blocked. So it's important that you learn to lengthen, keep the ability to stay relaxed in the groin. So hopefully there's some good hints for you in Surya Namaskara B. Thank you.